Islamic students, today's history topic is the Khilafat movement. Here we will discuss its second part. Previously, in the first part of Khilafat movement, we had discussed the reasons or causes for the formation of Khilafat movement. So here, first one, we will discuss the first Khilafat conference. So in November 1919, it was called at Delhi, and the objective was to try to persuade the British to keep their promises about maintaining the Turkish Empire. The leading figures at the conference were Ali brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar and Maulana Shaukat Ali, and they were joined by a prominent Congress leader, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. The conference passed a resolution agreeing to send a delegation to Britain to make sure that the British were aware of the strength of Muslim support for Khalifa or for Khilafat. In that conference, Gandhi was also present, and by the end of the war, he had become an unofficial leader of Congress, and his presence showed that the Khilafat movement was one in which religious differences were no longer important, but the Hindu-Muslim unity was uh, extremely important. So Gandhi's influence can be seen in the fact that the conference also passed resolutions boycotting British goods and adopting a policy of non-cooperation with the British. Uh, Gandhi was a keen advocate of the policy of passive uh, resistance, what he gave the name Satyagraha. Further, Gandhi argued that the Muslims to join Congress to seek self rule, what in Hindi was known as Swaraj. Swaraj means self rule. So, Congress and Gandhi were demanding self rule for India by the time. So, most Muslim leaders agreed with the idea of self rule at that time. The second Khilafat conference. It was held in Amritsar in December 1919. So at the same time, both Congress and the Muslim League were also meeting in the same city, and it was agreed that all the three organizations should work together to oppose plans to dismember the Turkish Empire. All the three means Congress, Muslim League, and the Swaraj movement or Satyagraha. In the it was agreed that Gandhi would take the lead in trying to persuade the British uh, not to punish Turkey. So this seemed a difficult task, and Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar had recently returned from a visit to Britain, in which he had impressed upon the British the importance of solving the Turkish problem, and they had listened politely but were not persuaded by his argument. Furthermore, on his insistence that Turkey should get justice, British Prime Minister Lloyd George replied, as already we had discussed in the previous lecture, that Turkey would get justice, and it would be treated same as the Germany and Austria were being treated. Now we'll discuss the policy of non-cooperation. So in January 1920, a deputation from the Khilafat movement uh, called on the viceroy to ask for fairness in the treatment of Turkey. In February, a further delegation was sent to England to try to persuade the western parts not to treat Turkey in the same way as Germany and Austria. But the delegation was in England. The terms of the treaty concerning Turkey, the Treaty of Sevres, were announced. So, amongst the other things, the treaty said that Ottoman Empire was to be split up. Arabia was made independent, and Turkey's other possessions in the Middle East were placed under the League of Nations and allocated to Britain and France. Turkish land was to be given to Greece, so that Turkey's only possession left in Europe was the small area around Istanbul. Uh, Later, the Turks rebelled against this treaty, and the Treaty of uh, uh, Lausanne replaced it in 1923. Some of the land lost in Europe was returned to Turks, but the Turkey never regained control of the Muslim territories, especially in the Middle East. Uh, in 1920, on 22nd June, the Muslims in India sent a message to the Viceroy, warning that if the terms of the unfair Treaty of Sevres were imposed on Turkey, then a policy of non-cooperation would be adopted. So, in the due course, Gandhi began a tour of India to rally support for the Khilafat cause, and it was decided different things were being settled, and it involved uh, surrendering of titles and resigning from the seats in the local bodies, withdrawing children from government schools, boycotting British courts, refusing to volunteer to join the armed British forces. Furthermore, it was decided to boycott foreign goods what were being imported from Britain, especially, and finally, uh, it was refused to stand for the elections. Uh, so, students, in the next lecture, we will discuss furthermore about the proceedings of the Khilafat movement, inshallah.